It's time again for another installment of the basics, and this episode is brought to you courtesy of questions that were asked to me on another one of my episodes on YouTube by a viewer who wants to know more about what you can do in regards to non-aligned personnel and ships in the Star Trek CCG. So I'm going to show you a selection of really good cards you can use as a complement to another affiliation or even by themselves. Now, this does not include Delta Quadrant personnel at the moment, or anything from an alternate timeline save one card, because it's a really good card. Let's get started, shall we? As the Star Trek CCG progressed over the years, and with every new expansion, there came better and better non-aligned personnel over the various sets, as well as ships, and even a ton of missions that came out. So you could theoretically make a non-aligned deck by itself. I like to complement other decks with non-aligned personnel that work well, and I'm going to show you a selection of what I have here. You have cards like Devanoni Ral. He's a VIP. He also has empathy, diplomacy, and treachery all in one. Baran is an officer. He has a command icon. Greed, archaeology, exobiology, and computer skill. He alone is very useful in completing a lot of the early set missions. So you got to have that. A promo card that's a favorite of mine, and this is the only alternate universe icon card I'm going to show you, even though it's a promo card. Thomas Paris. He's a civilian, but he has a minimum staffing icon. Navigation ×2, transporter skill, security, treachery, or may convert to honor for the rest of the game. That can come in very handy. And if you have a space-time portal or alternate universe store, sky's the limit. Timison, civilian with engineer, astrophysics, physics, scores test points if it helps solve the test mission. So if you have that out. Mortal Q, minimum staffing icon. Q Continuum is inactive, but doesn't matter. Physics ×10, geology ×10. The leadership -1's not a big deal, but his physics and geology come in so handy. Never mind the fact that you can discard Q dilemmas if you encounter them. Soong type android. Computer skill and youth. Cunning 10, strength 10. That alone pays dividends in the game. I've used it. It's worth it. The albino. He does have a nemesis icon, but for a civilian that has greed, treachery, leadership, medical, and exobiology ×2, awesome card. 1-0 and 0-1, which is the binars. Twice the engineer, twice the computer skill. You can download any binars card, and it'll nullify any kind of computer crash in play. Nick Locarno, command icon, civilian. He doesn't work with the Federation, but use him anywhere else. Navigation ×2, computer skill, leadership, youth, transporter skill. Come on, people. Great card. Khalida, she's universal. You can have as many of her as you want. An officer that has anthropology, computer skill, navigation. Odo, but as a non-aligned from the episode in Deep Space Nine that he had the tribbles. He's a civilian with security ×2, computer skill, and honor. The ships. There are so many good ships for non-aligned, even in the base set. So the combat vessel, range 8, weapons 8, shield 6. Okay, the shields aren't the greatest, but it only takes 2 minimum staffing requirements to get it going, and a range of 8. Husnock ship. Weapons 9, shields 12. Needless to say, if you start off with a Husnock ship, you're not going to get picked on right away. And it has a holodeck and a tractor beam. Very attractive. The Tamarian ships, Tama and Darmok, one's universal, so you can have as many Darmoks as you want. Tama has range 7, weapons 9, shields 8. Darmok has range 7, weapons 8, shield 7. Good all-around ships to have in a deck if you want something that has a bit of punch, but it's not too small. Believe it or not, the Packledge ship, the Mondor. Range 8, weapons 8, shields 8, cloaking device, holodeck, particle scattering device, tractor beam. Hello! A non-aligned ship with a cloaking device. And finally, the mercenary ship. Minimum staffing requirements, long-range scan shielding, 777 for range weapons and shields. If you don't make a completely non-aligned deck, you can easily add these to Klingon, Romulan, Cardassian, Bajoran to augment those decks and make them a little better. You have to be careful with the Bajorans though, because it can still be painful, and it's mainly due to the Bajoran personnel, and you need more non-aligned ships than Bajoran ships. But any other affiliation that's not Federation, non-aligned cards work very, very well with. Furthermore, as I mentioned earlier, there are missions that have the non-aligned icon on them that can be attempted by non-aligned personnel. Even if you're using them to augment a different deck with a different affiliation, you could slip in one or two of those non-aligned missions, just send your non-aligned people, complete the mission, and score some easy points as a side note during the game. So either way, having non-aligned personnel in a non-Federation deck makes sense. Unless, of course, it's a Borg deck, because then it would be pointless. But you get what I'm saying. That's all for today. Have a great one.